The Magic Show is brought to you by StarCityGames.com, and check this out. New Phyrexia is coming soon, and StarCityGames.com is your source for boxes, cases, fat packs, intro packs, complete sets, and singles. Head on over to StarCityGames.com and pre-order New Phyrexia today.
This is Brian Kibler. Welcome to the Magic Show.
Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of the Magic Show. This week we're going to talk about a very touchy subject on the wake of Grand Prix Dallas and a format-defining performance by Jace the Mind Sculptor. Our question today is, do we really ban Jace the Mind Sculptor? Let's go. So this past Monday on Twitter, a fascinating conversation happened about the results of Grand Prix Dallas, which featured a lot of Jace the Mind Sculptors in top 8, and by a lot, I mean 32. That's every single player, every single deck. You want me to keep going? How about 60 copies in the top 16? Yes, really. Were it not for the brave soul of Paulo Vitor Damo de Rosa, running Boros to 15th place, we'd probably have an all Jace top 16. As it stands, there were only 60 copies there. Allow me to try and fully put Grand Prix Dallas in a historical perspective here. No mythic, rare, or uncommon card, and I mean zero, has ever in the history of our game put 32 copies of itself in a premier event top 8. Were it not for Lightning Bolt at Grand Prix Kuala Lumpur earlier this year, no card in the history of Magic has ever had 32 copies of itself in a Grand Prix or Pro Tour top 8. Ever. Not Rashad Port, not Clarion Academy, not Skull Clamp, which was later banned, not any card that you can think of. Seriously. Sure, Bloodbraid Elf got 32 copies in a Magic Online Alara Block Championship, but we're talking real world here. Big stars, big names, and they're all running the most badass forecasting cost card ever printed. On Monday, community firestarter Ted Knutson posted a lengthy and well thought out argument for banning Mr. Mind Sculptor. This turned into a Twitter conversation hashtag ban Jace, and a full day of arguments stirred right up. Just so we're clear, Standard is probably not what you would describe as a healthy format. A healthy format does not begin with every deck list having the same 4 cards. Diversity and power are the hallmarks of any good format, and while we have the latter, we don't really have much of the former. Jace decks were a whopping 77% of the top 8 decks from the past 7 big events, from Grand Prix Barcelona, 5 Open Series events, and Grand Prix Dallas. Many would describe this as a broken format. Now I feel 2 things at this point, and I'm going to explain both. First, Jace the Mind Sculptor will never ever be banned in Standard. Second, the actual menace, some would say the Phantom Menace, is actually a land. Here we go. So, this is your Standard, fully owned and operated by Jace the Mind Sculptor. There are 2 types of winning decks these days in general. On one hand, you got the Stoneforge Mystic decks, which are all the Blade variants, Mystics, Squadron Hawks, Swords of Body and Mind, and Feast of Famine flavors. On the other hand, you've got Lotus Cobra decks and the unfair things they try to do. Now, Glenn Jones, our coverage manager here at Star City Games, did some serious number crunching for the month of March and the Open Series events in it. 4 stops, over 5,000 matches of Magic's computed. The result? With a whopping 58% win percentage, Caw-Blade is the deck to beat. Tier 1, right at the top, looking down on everyone else. There's no denying it. What's the other best deck? Red-Blue-Green Control, also known as Rug, with a 57% win percentage. Now I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but those are format-dominating percentages. What's the worst deck to play? Boros, and it's not close. With only a 48% win percentage, it only has favorable matchups against itself. That's just embarrassing. I'm pretty sure Paulo Vitor made top 16 in Dallas because that kid is freakishly good at Magic, not because it's the actual answer to Caw or Rug variants. Before I go on, there were also 32 copies of Preordain in the top 8, and I'm guessing a total of 60 in the top 16. But Preordain is merely the second best blue spell, doesn't win games on its own, and isn't a hard to remove permanent. Ban chance? 0%. Let's move on. With that said, let's answer the question of why they will never ban Jace the Mind Sculptor. Let's give the pro-banning argument a spin first by giving you a bit of surreal text. Let's imagine they banned Jace tomorrow and Wizards provided the following reasoning. Quote, Jace was banned in Standard, frankly, because it was everywhere. Every competitive deck either had 4 in the main deck, had 4 in the sideboard, or was built to try and defend against it. And there were a lot more successful decks in the first 2 categories than in the third. Such representation is completely unhealthy for the format. Your deck either has to have Jace, or have Jace in its crosshairs, and that is a definitive case of a card warping the metagame. If this sounds familiar, that's because it is. It is literally the same opening paragraph Aaron Forsythe used to explain the banning of Skull Clamp. Yeah, let that sink in for a second. But why is Jace different? Because the game is different. Let's discuss. First, Planeswalkers are now a cornerstone of the Magic brand, and Jace is the #1 Planeswalker. Magic is no longer just a collectible card game. It's a, quote, entertainment property, and as such has various ties to things beyond the game. Like an Xbox game, like showing up in movies and TV shows, and games that aren't even Magic, like MTG Tactics. These guys are badasses, were designed to be badasses, and well, have lived up to all expectations and then some. The fact is, Jace the Mind Sculptor will forever be an iconic card in Magic. It showcases both the dominance of blue and the Planeswalker card type. It is a mistake in the very best way. Every player who has one, or a playset, or a foil copy treasures it because it is special, powerful, and unique. Yes, it's currently worth $100. Yes, all this banning talk could affect his value. But the bottom line is, Jace is the leading man of the game. He's our Tom Hanks or Tom Cruise. He was the tentpole for the World Wake set. He basically sold World Wake by himself. He's the reason people wanted to buy and play with World Wake. And while there's a ton of great cards in that set, from Manlands to Tectonic Edge to Basilisk Collar and Stoneforge Mystic, Jace was the card everyone wanted from day one. They're not cutting up Karn and sending pieces of him around the world to various shops like the great Jace chase they did for World Wake's release, you know what I'm saying? Now, Wizards is understandably tight-lipped about the situation. They know what type of bind they're in. They've made a card so powerful that it's supposed to be powerful and cool, so powerful and so cool that they've unleashed a monster. Jace is the driving force behind this metagame, and every deck with a significant win percentage has him in their starting 60. But who's the real menace here? His name is Valakut the Molten Pinnacle. I want you to notice how all those green-white aggro decks seem to keep missing top 8s, while they should be traditionally destroying these Caw-Blade decks running rampant. I mean, Caw-Blade and Rug aren't the only decks in Standard, regardless of their dominance. Why aren't Vengevine and company getting it done? Because Valakut is at least 1 to 2 turns faster than any Vengevine deck. And that's just the facts. Valakut is actually a combo deck that uses Primeval Titan to win the game on the spot. It has a ton of redundancy and will be the most dominant deck in Standard if Jace is removed. Looking for irony? Check out the new Phyrexia Buy a Box promo, Surgical Extraction. A card for any color that at any time can remove all copies of Vengevine from their yard, hand, and deck instantly. This card was designed to battle the Vengevine menace, of which there is none. Vengevine has been safely kept in check by Valakut, and Valakut is in check by Caw-Blade. Basically, your rock, paper, scissors metagame doesn't have one of the 3. Aggro is not currently viable in your current Standard environment, at least not at the win percentages needed to take down tournaments. And we're all hoping new Phyrexia has the tools we're looking for. So what do? Ban Jace and Valakut? Well, what about Preordained? Don't forget that it had just as many copies in that top 16. Well, then it looks like we're kind of on a witch hunt. Do we ban every card that's good? Is that really what we're going to do here? Do we not recognize Jace the Mind Sculptor as a mistake in R&D pushing too hard? Do we really want Wizards of the Coast playing it safe so that we can never see a card like this again? Jace is the ultimate wingman, no doubt about it. While he's not crucial to winning, he can win on his own and can easily help you pull ahead. One thing's for sure, nothing is happening until new Phyrexia gets here. I assure you, Wizards is hoping for a less Jace-infused metagame after it's out. Fingers crossed that cards like Hex Parasite can destroy what dominance the card has currently shown. If you're still seeing all Jace top 8s a few weeks after new Phyrexia, I think that then, and only then, will the chances of him actually being banned be on the stack, much less have a chance to resolve. With no Open Series this past weekend, there is no Open Series update. That said, there will be invitational qualifiers this weekend on Saturday at the Charlotte and Denver Regionals events. On Sunday, you'll find them in Standish, Maine, and down in Bristol, Tennessee at Mr. Wayne's, a great shop I've frequented over the years. For those hoping for invitational glory, get to work. For the remainder of today's show, I have a real treat for you. Friend of the show, Richard Castle, is an aspiring videographer, and I was really impressed with his previous work, so I wanted to highlight some of it on the show today. I wasn't able to make it to Grand Prix Dallas, but he sure did. Check it out.
It's just a giant
boatload of fun. Like, you come in, I came in a day early and did a couple grinders. So there's people coming in, there's all kinds of people to trade with, vendors here to do the same thing. Then you just come in, you know, play Magic against all kinds of people you never met before from all around the country and the world. It's a lot of fun.
It's the only Grand Prix really in the area for me, and to be able to get a chance at another large tournament, you know, is really nice.
I guess that's pretty difficult. Standard's really high powered. I wish it wasn't all the same deck. Like, I usually like playing stuff that's different. I'm playing Caw-Blade and I've been playing it for like 3 weeks because like, it's just the best deck and it's really hard to play anything else. Maybe Rogue's really good too. But Jace is cool and Standard's all about Jace, so I guess I like Standard enough.
I played red, blue, green, Rug. Oracle Die is my favorite card, and it's like the best Jace deck by quite a lot. So it beats other Jace decks.
I was going to play Kuldotha because I won my Grand Prix trial with it, but then I played in the Dallas Open and scrubbed out horribly and realized it's a bad deck. So I'm gonna play Grixis Tezzeret. So we'll see how it does. I didn't get much testing in.
Oh, blue-black, definitely. I think blue-black's really good. Because like, watching like people play, I watched like Guillaume Off-the-Top play against Lewis Laskin, and just like when you play the blue-black deck to stop like the Caw-Blade deck from doing what they're doing by like duressing their swords and stuff, you buy yourself so much time. And when you can build the deck with Caw-Blade in mind, I think you can like beat it, even though it shouldn't be like great, and blue-black beats everything else.
I was playing blue-black control today because I like to play blue, but I don't like playing the best deck, like the deck everyone wants to beat. I like to be in the other side. So blue-black is a fine choice.
Blue-black control. In last week, I was playing for this deck, and it seemed really good.
I do like the format. I think they need to fix the format a little bit. Caw-Blade is just far too much of the format for it to be competitive. Like, that's part of why I like Legacy, is that it's just wide open, and you know, there's any deck can win any weekend, where Caw-Blade at a lot of the events has been 4 of the top 8, you know, 10 to 8 of the top 16, and I think that's a huge problem.
I mean, I like it just because I get to play Rug and it's like one of the best decks. But like at the top 8's 4 red, blue, greens and 4 blue, whites, so I don't know whether that's, you know, what people actually want to be playing against in their FNMs, probably not.
I hated him until I got to play him, and once you play with him, it really changes your opinion on Jace. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's like trying to play in Legacy and not playing with Wastelands or Force of Wills and just trying to, you know, play with budget cards, and then you get to play with like a non-budget card, and it completely changes the format for you. Like the first time I got to play Jace, just being able to brainstorm with him, I was like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. Like, why did I, you know, totally worth 75 at the time, 100 now, totally worth it.
So that's another week in the world of Magic, folks. I think I'll leave you with the classic line from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Don't panic. Until next time, Magic players, this is Evan Irwin, tapping the cards so you don't have to.